Hello, and welcome back for another long rest. I'm Brandon,
And I'm Logan.
and in today's episode, we've talked about session 0, and now it's time to break in to that very first session, session number 1. Logan?
So session number 1, that's where the fun begins. But we're going to pause you right there.
Huh?
I know, I'm sorry. We told you this video would be about session 1, but have you heard about session 0.5?
Oh.
I'm not tugging your leg. This is what I feel like has been best. Goodness, this is what I feel has been the most beneficial to me as a player. Because I'm coming off of session 0. I know what my character is going to be, right? I know where they're falling in the setting, but I don't know my character yet. And that is what gets me excited to play a character. And in the past month, I have started 2 new campaigns. So we've done session 0s, and then we did session 0.5s. I've only done 1 session 1 so far, but next week I'll have 2 session 1s done and a session 2. So, I don't know, I play a couple times, I don't know. But regardless, moral of the story is the session 0.5, what that looks like to us and to me is a one-on-one interaction with you and the DM as the character. This probably has minimal dice rolling because you obviously don't want to kill off that character before you can even get into the game. And as a solo level 1 character, you're pretty vulnerable. But what it does look like is some exposition about where the character came from and how they're moving forward to get to that point where session 1 starts, where they meet the party. And then on top of that, you might have a little bit of role play where you and the DM go back and forth and develop your character. For me, what this looks like is figuring out my character's voice. That's wildly important to me for whatever reason. I enjoy it the most because it puts me into that character. And then right afterwards, it gives me motivations. It gives me flaws. It gives me the actual character. It kind of just unravels right then, right there. So that way when it comes to session 1, I am so stoked to be that character, that Warforged barbarian, that water genasi warlock. Like, I'm there. If I just went straight from session 0 to session 1, I have to find that weird grace period of being like, what is my character doing here? Why is he doing it? But session 0.5 lets me test that out with the DM, and we can get immediate feedback on what I think is going to work in that world.
I would like to add, I think that you can do a session 0.5 with multiple people as well. It doesn't have to be solo. You can definitely, if there's that tie in the backstory together, bring in 2 players and help establish that tie. And in that 0.5, the DM has the opportunity to date back as far as you need to in order to. So if something happened drastically 50 years ago, that's really important. You can talk that through, role play if you need to, and then you jump, a nice little time skip for 45 years until something recent just happened. Let's talk about this for 30 minutes. And then you would jump into the modern day. Yep, so this is where you're going. And so the next hour and a half, we work our way to get to that elder tree that everybody's going to be circled around to start, or the classic tavern, or everybody's in prison, or, everybody's flying on the back of a dragon to start with. Who knows? But it's such a beautiful way to morph the game to that session 1. And it gives not only as like Logan stated, does it give the player the identity, but it gives the table identity because everybody's meeting at session 1 with the know-all of how they exist, I guess.
Yeah.
So in that, there's a collectiveness there that allows the table just have like that breath of fresh air of ease. You're not trying to like improv yourself into that session 1 and just try to put yourself in the shoes to try to imagine, okay, how did I get here? What did I do? Is this right? Is this right? And discover yourself, as Logan said.
Yeah.
So it's a great thing. So with session 0.5 out of the way, brings us into session 1.
Yeah, it gives you that soft, smooth landing right into session 1 where the DM gets it rolling, right?
Yeah.
Right off the rip, off of session 1. First off, I think you should set the vibe. Get the vibes right, Bring snacks, get everybody excited. Know that session 1 and every session henceforth, you guys are there to have fun together. You're going to have stressful moments. You might cry. You're going to laugh. you're going to have fun together, most importantly, and you're going to create memories. So, no, that's the number one priority.
Yeah, absolutely. Session one, you got to start right.
Mm-hmm.
Find fun ways to do things. Find fun ways to theme the night, snacks, theme the drinks, theme anything. You know, everyone wants to get kind of dressed up for the first time, even just to wear a D&D shirt. You know, everyone wears pajamas for the first time. Find something fun.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Helps add a little bit of a different kick.
Yeah. But now that we're actually here, the vibes are right, we're ready to go. That's when the DM starts introducing the setting.
Mm-hmm.
You've already got a good idea from session 0, 0.5. So at this point, you just hit the ground running to where the DM describes what you guys are doing there as a collective or how you guys are coming together as a collective. You're going to know when the story is taking place. You're going to know even the situation that brought you guys together or what is immediately about to happen to bring you guys together. And that's the most important part, is that party has to form together quickly. Either that's something that's agreed upon earlier before session 1 that you guys are just together, or something pulls everybody together for you guys to be called to some sort of action to be a party.
Yeah, and I think one strong asterisk, if we're going to put one here, is if you're sitting around the table as a player, you have already made the agreement to the rest of your friends, party members, and that dungeon master that you're going to go on this adventure and be a group player, a group, like a team member. So your character has to want to be a part of a group. They have to want to go on an adventure. Don't forget that. It's cool to have that lone wolf persona, to have that kind of individuality that we all kind of want in those moments. But at the end of the day, you have to want to sit around there and go forth with the party and the adventure that is at hand. So don't forget that. I think that kind of gets lost a little bit when you start getting really creative on some characters. And it gets very difficult for a dungeon master to kind of wrangle that in, and then the cohesion of a party gets a little torn. The glue's really stretched in those situations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that being, when you have that call of action, it can be all sorts of things. You know, the party finally gets together and you get that call of action, and it could be combat, or it could be a puzzle in order to get out of said dungeon that they were thrown into. So now maybe the party's escaping somewhere, and they're going to have to solve this puzzle or riddle to get out of here multiple times. You know, steps to get out. They're being chased.
It could be a test.
Yes.
To, you know, like a strong being in that universe, or even a higher power, might be testing the party for what's to come.
Very true.
It does not have to be encounter, a classic encounter being combat. It's just an encounter that gets the party rolling and some sort of action going.
Yeah, ultimately, you're pushing the collective. Like, you're finding a way to bond. Unfortunately, you know, sometimes the strongest bonds are formed through shared experiences, right?
Or tragedy.
And that's a big thing. Trauma and tragedy is a really big one. So, you know, depending, you know, combat to a certain extent kind of is trauma, tragedy, depending on this happens in the surroundings.
Yeah.
And there's different ways to make that shared experience an emotional tie, and that really helps bring that adventuring party. And it gives them a reason, you know, if you can tie that reason into that encounter, it gives them a reason to be together.
Yeah.
Which is always great to have that pinpoint.
And then, jumping right next, the most important thing as well in a session 1 is for the player characters to introduce each other, themselves to each other, and get to know the other player characters. Not the players themselves.
Right.
You can describe your character as the player, but there should be that role play of the characters themselves interacting with each other, forming those bonds. Maybe there's skepticism between each other. Cool. That's development. That is future plot that can continue to unravel.
Absolutely.
You know, it is just that interaction between the characters that lets them get the feelers out. Whatever that looks like.
Yeah. I mean, it could be before that call to action. It could be even after it. but giving them the opportunity to communicate with each other. Because if you and I and you were all of a sudden somewhere and we had a call to action, well, it's cool. We might have, defeated this said instance together, and we did it, and we are going to go do this next step together. But I kind of would like to know you. I kind of would like to know you. So finding out where you're from, why are you here in the first place? Like, how did you get drugged into this situation?
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe it's getting a drink after the big action happens. You need to wind down, so you're like, man, I'm going to buy you a drink for what we just did there today.
Yeah.
That's a great way to get to know the players, the characters, to get to know each other. Or if it's beforehand, the characters could be mingling between each other, and then something happens. So they already have that bond to where they do defend each other instead of being forced into a situation where they have to help out an unknown ally. They might already have that bond.
True. Just helps,
Yeah.
You're hitting the nail on the head from multiple angles at this point. Like, giving a reason to bond that group together helps. I think we lost our. I
did think so.
Yeah, hitting that helps. Okay, so now you have a reason because we fought together. We solved this puzzle together. I relied on you, and you relied on me, and we made it out of that instance. Oh, also, you're from Torvengard? I'm also from Torvengard. That's crazy. I didn't know that. We're all on the other side of the planet right now.
Yeah.
That's wild. We're both here. Finding those different ways to just tie everything together and make that web of the party just helps.
Yeah.
It gives talking points. It gives cohesion. It gives the future growth potential that you really want when you're starting at zero.
Mm-hmm.
As some would say, you're really laying the foundation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You are laying the foundation for what the party is going to become.
Yeah.
And speaking of foundations, the Dungeon Master, when you are setting this scene, this first call to action, whatever that is, the puzzle, the actual combat encounter, the chase scene, whatever it is, it very well can be trivial. It could just be a happenstance instance where goblins are attacking the town and everybody's called to action. Or it could be the earliest plot thread for the story that you have planned or the story that is to come. And it's just the first thread that the players get to pull on and start to unravel everything.
Yeah.
The sky's the limit in what you do, but just know that first encounter can really set the pace for the rest of the campaign.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's important too to just kind of, if you're the dungeon master, to take a step back. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Session one's already stressful enough.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. There's so many things rattling through your brain. But take a step back. Trust yourself that you've prepared well enough, and if not, you're going to improv through it. And most generally, give the players time, because they will be able to talk for a few hours, more than likely, and work that party magic together and allow them to thread that scene. And they might help you really put that, scene together of that combat coming and how they're communicating with each other. When you really feel how they start to talk with each other, it might give you those moments, this is a great time for the goblins to come through. They've really established that they like each other and they've done this. Now this is the time that, a goblin slingshot boulder or a rock comes through the window, and now it's on.
Yeah.
Those are those perfect moments. So take a deep breath. That's the whole thing.
No kidding. Yeah. So that means your session's well on its way. You've got everything rocking and rolling to really get your campaign started so that you wrap up session one, right?
Yes.
The most important thing when you're wrapping up that session one is getting the feedback from the players.
And this is a hard thing to do.
It is.
And it's just, I think some people you might think it's a little bit combative.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's kind of a strong word to say in that situation. Because words, if somebody's not necessarily respectful in their criticism, maybe it gets a little stabby in the heart. But, when you're done, and the DM, this is probably your chance, you probably open this up, but you go, hey guys, we just finished. What did everybody think? Whether we go around the table and everybody just goes hey, can you give me one thing you liked?
Mm-hmm.
Just to get people talking. And then, if somebody can be it gives them the opportunity to say, hey, I'm not quite so sure on how like I handled this, or maybe how this was handled in general. Is there something I should do better, or can we potentially think about changing, XYZ, because I think it would fit better. I know that's a super broad instance, but yeah, and it gives open discussion.
Yeah.
And it starts from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what would truly be the golden nugget to receive as a dungeon master is the players telling you what they liked about the session one, and then what they hope for. You can even prompt that. You can say, what are your hopes for the next session, the next campaign, right? This whole story to come out of what you guys just experienced. Like, do you want more of this? Do you want more political intrigue? That's the perfect time to respond to your players' wants. If you have a completely different direction for what the campaign's going, and your players are not interested in session one, that's not boding well for the next 50, 60, 80, 100 sessions.
Which, hopefully you've kind of established a little of that in session 0, like where that's wanting. But at the same time, people change. And, every session you might go, oh yeah, I really wanted to role play this.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you haven't done combat for a month and a half, and you go, yeah, I'm really over role playing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what you liked in December might be different from what you like in July.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine. And if that open dialogue's there, that's a great time for you to be like, hey, we really would like some more political intrigue. I think we feel really established in our role playing and our combat. We'd like something that really kind of changes the tone of the game.
Yep.
And then that's cool.
Yeah.
If the DM didn't know that, how is he supposed to ever put it in?
Mm-hmm.
Just something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
So
I think the most important thing is keeping the feedback from the DM to the DM, from the players to the players, as constructive criticism.
Yes.
Not just straight criticism to beat somebody down.
No.
You have to build them up, or else campaign's over right there.
Yeah, and what I mean, at the end of
Session
the day,
1, session done.
like you said when we started this, vibes are high, right? And if you're not gonna have fun around the table, what's the point of doing it? If you're just there to talk down on somebody else, what's the good of that? We're there to have fun, and if we can make ourselves better and somebody else better around the table, and you do it in a light, ultimately in a loving way, saying, hey, I think you could do better at this,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we'd all enjoy it more. Let's just do that. Let's have a good time, because I know you said that meaning with respect, and that's what matters.
Absolutely.
Well, I think you're well off to a fun campaign.
Session 1 is in the bag. Session 2 is next week. You guys got this.
Yeah.
Keep it going. Get in the comments. Let us know how your campaign's going. How session 1 is coming up for you. Because 2026, new year, new campaign.
That's what most people say. But hey, good luck out there. And yeah, like Logan said, get in the comments and we'd love to hear. Guys, we'll see you next Saturday.